the AutoCAD, and it's more about the isometrics, no? Because everything else you guys kind of know. So let me put the AutoCAD there. There you go. Here in the top of the AutoCAD, and in this screen, unfortunately, you cannot see it. But if you look through the column, you know, you use your X-rays and you look through the column. There's a little like a button that you can change from drafting annotations. That is the one that I normally use because it's 2D work in AutoCAD. You can go to 3D modeling. Okay. Before doing that, I mean, you can do it, but I'm going to do a polyline in my drafting test F8, and I'm going to do a site. Okay. You know that you can create your layers, LA, and expand your layers, and you know that for each layer it's recommended that you change the color so you can print afterwards the way you want it to print. So for example, if you had the zone or the lot line, I will place it, for example, in, I don't know, color 10, and then if this is my lot line, I will make sure it's under that color. I will prepare my layout with my XREFs that you have already. Okay, and then before printing, and remember it's a PDF, etc. You guys should do this. Actually, I'm going to do it correctly just in case somebody thinks this is the way to do it. The way to do it, to repeat again what I did last class, is right-click, Page Setup Manager, Modify, and you place it always as PDF. You go to ANSID, and you have to create your CTV, so nothing comes in color. It comes super nice with the thickness you want, and you're going to have to deal with a specific CTV that is yours and only yours, or your groups. Okay, I'm going to use grayscale just to save some time. I'm going to say OK. Remember that here is where you place your XREFs. So if you want to do the XREF, you just type XREF. You can dock this with no problem. And press on this little button, attach DWG. I don't have it here, but everything from the class number 1 resources, all the XREFs that we're using are there. So if you need, for example, the symbols and the annotations and the notes, everything is in Blackboard. So download them before, and then you can place them as XREF to the model space. The same as the title block is in Blackboard. So what you would do is just select the title block, and it will automatically be placed here in place. Remember that when you place it, it comes assigned to that point, the 0, 0, 0. So make sure you move it to that point, which is the real place that we want to have it. Okay, so that's pretty much repeating myself, but remember that you can double click to get in, zoom, extend. You can place that. You probably want to create new layers for the windows because you don't want to print them and say something like no plot. And place it in another color or whatever you want, white, and make sure you say no plot. You can close that, select the windows, and place it under no plot. No, that means that if I Control P and I say preview, the window does not show. It only shows the little guy. No. Remember, this needs a title block, and it's whatever it needs, etc., etc. So that's pretty much the intro to last week's. I'm going to do a new file. Say open. And I'm going to go from drafting annotations to 3D modeling here. Now, if you don't have this option, I think you can click here and search for workspace. Okay, that's the one that shows that. So you change that to 3D model, and the interface changes slightly. It just incorporates some tools very similar to Rhino or some other softwares, okay? At this point, Shift becomes the tool together with the center button to start changing the perspective, no? It's similar to Revit, so if you learn now and you get happy with the Shift center button, you will be happy in Revit later on, okay? So, okay, at this point, you can still do exactly the same stuff in terms of 2D. For example, PL stands for polyline, F8 for orthogonal, and you can still do your snapping tools, etc., etc. Okay. You can obviously, maintain the layers and do your own work, but at this point, what is important is to know that you can use extra set of tools, such as extrusion. No, that would be the one that everybody knows from Rhino. So just type extrude after selecting your polyline, and you can extrude it either manually like in Rhino, or you place a number, which is probably what you want, because manually is not going to give you the exactness that you need. Okay, so make sure you place a number here, whatever feet or inches, depending on what you're working on, and there you have your volume. Remember that Shift, I could have drawn the lot line before in drafting and then change to 3D. Doesn't really matter, okay? You can do it however you want to do. You can also select it, and you have like helping tools to change the position of the things, but I don't recommend in changing much, because you want exactness, no, in your bulk analysis. Now the question is, well, there's another volume on top. How would you guys do it? Yeah, with the setback, etc. What I would do is start creating lines. L, I will create, for example, line here. I will make offsets, O, and I would say whatever number, no? Let's say like to here, no? What I did is an offset of this line that I created over here. That could be my setback, or I can even do a line up here, actually snaps to the top, and move it from here, there, like whatever number, no? What happened there? I have snapping. If you want to snap to different things, you shift right click, snap settings, and you probably want to put nearest or whatever you need, perpendicular obviously, etc. Okay. There you go. So you kind of draw those, or you go to drafting, you draw the line in the middle, let's say PL as in polyline. Let me get rid of these guys again. And I can draw a polyline F8 or F3 actually, and F8, and start doing my drawing, So now I can say F3, make sure perpendicular is there, and CL stands for close. So basically what I did is, let me delete this, another polyline in the bottom or in the top. I can now move it using the points here as reference, no, to the top. And I can select and do another extrude here to the top, whatever distance. No? Now, remember in Rhino, what's happening? We have two solids, but we really want to make one. It's one bulk volume. What do we do? Okay, so let me select, join. Oh, these AutoCAD guys are not exactly so friendly with Rhino people. There are different companies. They have another term. So search here in the top somewhere. Something similar to join. Huh? Group, union. Let's try union, because I know it is. So group is going to group them, and they're not going to make them one. Okay, so be careful. So you select both and say union. see that I'm going to Control C to see that. Let me check from here. Control Y. Oh, you used to do it. Okay. Union. Type union. Select 1, 2. Enter. There you go. Good. Perfect. Once you have that, and it's going to be very simple once you have the numbers, we all understand that the problem here is getting the numbers, no? So we need to spend time checking the regulations, no? At this point, we go to the top here, and we find under unsafe views, it's very similar to Rhino as well, and you search for the southwest, southeast, isometrics. What I would do is just play with one. You think or you don't think you like it. If you don't like it, you change it. If it explains good your project. For example, I wouldn't like that one. I would probably like the one we had before. No? And once you're there, you just center it. You don't even have to center it. You say flat shot. It's a command similar to what in Rhino? Make to D. Okay, flat shot opens up this window. The difference between make 2D and flat shot, make 2D you select the 3D model that you want to make 2D. Flat shot, it takes everything that is 3D and just flattens, okay? So if you have lines that are floating or anything that is 3D, it's going to be flattened, okay? The way I recommend it, that you fill this little window in flat shot. It's export to file, select where you want to save the file, and call it something like isometric A, and it's the one that's going to be in the top. Save, and here there's similar to Rhino. You can say if you want different layers for what's hidden line versus what's not. Okay, so I normally like, you know, depending on your CTV probably. I'm going to say red, actually yellow to the foreground, and red to the background. I'm going to say create. And that's it. Seems like not much has done, but if I Control O as in open, I go to the desktop, isometric, there you go. If you don't see it, zoom extend, Z, enter, E, enter. Now you say it looks cool, no? Well, if I do the same trick with the shift and the middle button, it's actually flat. Now here's a point where you might think you're totally from the top view. To make sure, please go to top view so you know that you're dealing with 2 dimensions. At this point, you need to start measuring. As I mentioned in the board, you have to put dimensions here. Well, what I will do is change to drafting here, if you want to. You have all the tools in either way, so what I would do is, let me close this, go to annotations, and just say dimension here, from here to there. Now, what do you think I should change here, like right away, from this dimension? What is not so cool? Units, something you want to work with, but there's something about the scale of the dimension. Well, here's the thing, when you do the flat shot, what it does is it depends on the zooming in to your 3D model, so it's not exactly scaled. So what I recommend is SC for scaling. Select the whole thing. From here, R as in reference, from here to here, I want it to be, you know, 500, 1000, depends on your project. No? I scale it, and now it's exactly that number. But still, the dimensions, you probably have a dimension that you are working with normally, but this is definitely not a correct one. This, I cannot see. If I put this as an X-ray, by the way, I recommend. I'm going to go and do it now. I'm going to go here, save. I'm going to go to my previous layout and go to the model space, XREF, select, desktop, isometric, OK. See how it's that big? And here I will, if I put this here, zoom, extend. Oops. I'm going to copy the window in the layout, put it there, and this one is going to be the 3D model, no? Remember that the scale is important, so if you say Control 1 to the window, you have the options to see your scales. We want fraction scales, obviously. Control 1 gives you the properties panel, which pretty much tells you everything about everything. So in this case, we need to know things about the window of the viewport. So we select that, and here under miscellaneous, this is missed, it tells us the scale options, okay? So now I can do Control P, preview, and there it is. Now, not cool, no? I mean, if I see this as a sheet, imagine the title block. Who's gonna see that number? No way, no? Now the hidden line here, no way, the opposite, no? So we need to start thinking about layouts of CTVs, of plot styles, okay? A little more careful. And also we need to go here and start changing the annotation scale and so on. So for that, for those that don't know, I'm gonna go very, very fast. You can just create your own annotation settings under, that's the right, where is it? Isn't it here? Here at the bottom, no? Manage dimension styles. You guys know this, no? If you don't know, you just say new. You create your new dimension styles. You can call it isometric. You can call it even the project. Say continue. And here's where you have to change the scale of your text, the scale also of your symbols, the symbols that you want. Please don't play too much with that. Keep the architectural tick. Make text very simple, etc., etc. Okay. So, just to review again, because pretty much is there. We have a new sheet. We save the sheet. The most important thing to do this new sheet is not so much your tool. Any questions regarding AutoCAD? Because I'm going to close the master here, the little guy. Questions, AutoCAD?